When you think of the perfect personal assistant, who or what do you think of? For me, I think of Alfred from Batman, Donna from Suits, and what made these individuals so great. It's the fact that they did great things without being asked or very little involvement to get those things done. I think it's fair to say that AI has done very capable things, things that we would want a personal assistant to do. But the thing is, we need to find a balance between providing those utilities and those tools in a medium that actually makes sense. The main AI assistant mediums that we've seen are apps, pins, and glasses. Apps being the least proactive of the bunch, that being requiring the most amount of interaction to get a response. And the options for those mediums are either typing into a prompt or audibly speaking into the device. This to me feels like the equivalent of searching on Google, and in fact, that's still my go-to. Regardless, it's not a great experience on the personal assistant front. Other pins or small devices we have seen recently as well, like the Rabbit R1 or the infamous Humane AI Pin. This was one of the first experiences to provide a device that was supposed to act like a phone without the actual screen. This product failed in glorious fashion because it was not great, but the main issue that we had was that everything was done via cloud. Obviously, with these small devices, you can't fit the technology needed to make these things run locally, so they require a connection to the internet. They will need to communicate to their cloud hosting provider, and then it would need to be communicated back to said device. In the real world, your phone is doing something very similar. However, with the device itself that was created, it just was not optimized. So that process to send the prompt to the cloud and get it back to the local device just took ages. With the fact that AI still hallucinates pretty frequently, the constant need to refine prompts to get the answer you're actually looking for, and that's assuming you know the answer you're looking for. Imagine you have no idea what you're researching, you're using AI as your medium of choice to find said answer, and you end up with a bunch of garbage. It's leaked that Apple is also working on a pin that's supposed to be slightly bigger than an AirTag with a microphone and camera to pick up surrounding information, but there is a good chance that this never actually sees the light of day and could just be an R&D project so that they can bring AI better to their main devices like their phones, tablets, and computers. The issue that I see with the AI pins is the interfaces are just really, really rough. The only way to trigger voice assistance is going to be through hand gestures or some sort of voice command. A camera would essentially need to always be on to have some proactiveness to essentially see what's going on so that when you do ask a question, it has some of that information preloaded. But for that camera to always be on such a small device, it would die too quickly to be actually useful. So currently with apps and pins, there's no opportunity for proactiveness. The devices are too small or require you to interact with it extensively before you can get to your prompt response. So in my opinion, the components and the features that AI pins are offering are equivalent, if not the exact same as what you could do with a cell phone. So those don't seem like a great medium either. The one medium that does seem to be sticking are glasses. We've seen a bunch of companies recently work on AI designed glasses, but the main issue that we see here is trying to fit all of that technology within a glasses frame. This has led to very bulky designs like you can see from the new Meta Orion glasses. These obviously can do a lot. They have compatibility with a lot of Facebook's apps like WhatsApp, etc. But I think there has to be a balance between form and function. Personally, I hate that sort of design. I think it gets away from the point of wearable technology, of being and providing a seamless experience with what you would normally wear on a day-to-day basis. It feels way more like a R&D project than a full production level product. A pair of glasses that we have talked about recently are the Even Realities G2 glasses. And these are smart glasses with AI features, and to me, provide way more of a true wearable technology form factor. The key to these two glasses are the methods in which you interact with the HUD or the display within the glasses. And the Even Realities G2, it is a ring that allows you to control and see what is happening, whereas the Meta Orion glasses has a wrist strap that monitors your wrist movement. Based on those movements, will do and perform different actions within the glasses. While we may not have that same proactivity, the widgets and apps that are available within these glasses essentially providing some of that utility without you needing to engage with it extensively is where I think the key is. So how do we improve the landscape? Across the board, when it comes to consumer applications and consumer software, retention is the key. And barriers to entry make that retention exponentially harder to grow and maintain. Googling something has been the standard for the last 2 decades at least. And trying to convert everyone at the same time to start using your new AI-based app is going to be very, very difficult. I still think in 2026, Google searches account for more than 80% of queries on the internet. Yes, other companies are slowly trying to chip back at that, but 80% is huge. So trying to convert all of these individuals is going to take a very, very long time, especially with how we've seen how inaccurate these language models have been when it comes to certain prompts and questions. For phones and apps, I think the biggest thing is to leverage devices that are already connected to our phone, the big one being smartwatches. Now, I don't want to slap AI on everything, but I do think it's valid that the components that we were talking about earlier, when it came to those pins, when it came to cameras, when it came to speakers, when it came to microphones, these are things that are either already in smartwatches or can be added very easily. Obviously, we would need to make some advancements when it came to shrinking components so that all of this stuff could fit within an actual smartwatch. But to me, utilizing a smartwatch seems like a way better alternative than trying to create a new pin. To me, glasses are the clear forerunner here. We've seen how much progress we've made in the last couple of years, and I think it's going to be very similar to phones, where the innovations that we make here are going to be very, very rapid, assuming companies are willing to spend and innovate and put time and effort into these types of products. If we could fit more cameras into these glasses, which obviously is going to come with a bigger size, so we need to find a balance with that innovation. But if we could do some eye tracking with those cameras so we could get away from the manual interaction that would be required with a ring or a wristband, that would be awesome. Regardless, we have seen some issues when it comes to AI in the wearable medium, but with a little bit more technological innovation when it comes to the size of internal components, being able to shrink those down, we can absolutely see some crazy advancements when it comes to the form factor, the design, and the features that are going to be provided with these new tools. Well, that wraps it up for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.